Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks. And there's two things that I see in the markets that we will probably need to use as templates on not all the stocks, but many of them. And one of the first main things that we need to be aware of is that with Apple here, we do have a nice clean 5 waves down here. So that means quite simply we're going to get a B wave. It may not come that high, and then we'll get a C wave to come into play. So that's going to be pretty much one of the templates that we'll need to apply to most of the stocks. And also we'll probably have to apply this to the NASDAQ as well, and the S&P. So we'll have to look at these down here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to come down through to here. So that's basically what we need to be looking at. The other thing that I noticed that we need to be a bit mindful, it's a bit left field and it's over in the banking sector. So let me just bring up this for a moment. This is the regional banks here. And from the low here that we had in May here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, but now we've got an overlap for this particular thing. So we could call it an A and a B and a C wave. And there are stocks like Tesla that we could view as an ABC to the upside. But I think that we need to stay with the bullish side for a while, and we're going to need some patience for that. But the same thing applies here as well. We'll need an A and a B and a C. And this is the same for this is the KRE and this is the KBE here. So this is more like the broader, larger banking sector here. So when you're looking at some of these banks, and this can also in an odd way apply to the S&P 500 as well. Slightly different. But yeah, so this concept, we haven't overlapped here just yet, but we have on the regionals, and it will probably overlap here as well. So yes, of course, we can look at it as an A and a B and a C to the upside, and it could become more bearish at that point. I don't think that's the case, but I can't rule it out. But in the meantime, we just need to sort of hang on to our horses and just be a little bit patient. So with the banks, and this will apply to some other markets as well, this is where Tesla can come in like this too in the bigger picture. So wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Now in this particular case, at this stage, we could count this down as an ABC pattern to here. But based on what we can see with Apple, then we'll need to be mindful that we'll get a B wave and a C wave here in most cases, and then push up from that point. So it's going to be a bit of a hairy ride to get through all of this. So that's kind of, and we'll probably have to look, we could probably look at other markets like this as well. Like I said, we could probably look at the NASDAQ and the S&P in this way, but slightly different. But instead of looking for a 3-4 to pull back here, we could look at it as a, tighten all this up, put this wave 3 over here and this wave 4 here, and then bring, this wave 1 up to here and look at it like that as well. So that's all possible. We'll talk about that more so in the indices video today. But yeah, the two takeaways are that with most stocks, we'll need to look at them as 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, but here an ABC correction here. Now, like I said, it's possible that this can just push up here because this pattern here is very much the same as this previous pattern here. So it's a little bit of a fingerprint. But based on Apple, most of the stocks will see an ABC here. Stocks like Amazon should be okay to the upside. Google should be okay straight to the upside. Nvidia should be okay straight to the upside. But many of the others will need to do this situation here. Okay, so based on that, it's also possible here to, as we looked at the banks as 1 and 2 here, we could do this over here, or we could put wave 1 over here. I think we talked about that last week on the daily chart here. So we just need to be a little bit open-minded here. But the thing is, So looking at this as 5 waves up here with an A and a B and a C, it doesn't really matter what the situation is at the moment, because what's going to happen is that there is 5 waves here. So we're going to get some sort of B wave up here. Now the B wave could come up 40%, it could come up 80%. We don't know that just yet. We'll just see where the general market is, and we'll take it at that point, and then have an ABC pattern coming into play for this. So I think we may be on, I'll just go to 100 ticks, because we're basically looking for a low down here. Now we're the other point is that the third point is that we are very close to the current low here. A lot of markets have got a little 4th wave coming up here and they can go straight down. Other little markets need to push up a little bit further and then have one down, but not a lot. And some may even have the low in already. There's always leaders and there's followers in these in the market. So let's just go, I don't know if I got it on 1000, but let's just go to 100 here for a moment and get in a bit more data. It must be on the 1000. Yeah, here we are, sorry. So yeah, so this is where we are here. Looking at this all the way down here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, and 4 and 5 for the third, the fourth. So it's pretty, I've got one count that's got the low in here, and I've got another count which I'll find in a minute, which I thought was on the 100, but that can have one more push down here. So we just need to talk about this on a bit more of a intraday level. But in a nutshell, we've got those 5 waves to here, or one more little low to come in, and we'll be seeing this ABC pattern to the upside. So there is a long trade here. We just need to set it up. So it was on the 100 tick. So what did I look at before? Radio, get some more data in here. I'll just get some more as well. So from the top here, we're looking at 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and it's a little bit messy, I know that, but I've gone through here and I've counted all the waves, so 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth here, then the 1 and the 2 over to here, and then 1 and 2 here. So I'm still 1 wave short here on this particular count, but the thing is that if I take it from this wave 2, I mean, I've got the spike here. I'll put it on the spike. At the spike, it's the 38.2% here at the moment. So we're not too far out of it. And if I take it off the spike, that will lift it up a little bit further in that point there. I thought that I counted that as well. So the thing here is we know that the 175 is roughly the 38.2% retracement level. This is where we can have one more move down here, okay? So we could say to ourselves, because this looks a little bit impulsive, we could look at it as impulsive. So all we need to do is look for this pattern on the 175, because we know that the 175 is, we know that the number 5 is what it's really all about. So the 5 is the second strongest number, so that's going to help us use that. So what we want is this first high above the level, and then we don't chase that, of course, and we just wait for it to come back, and we use that high, the second high or third high. So what we can do here, we've got the arrival happening here. So what we're looking for is the first high above the level, and when that comes back here, anything above that, then you can build in a small position. And when the 176.50 becomes the tested support, then you can look to move in on that point. Now, sometimes it's quite difficult to do that between that and this and the 7720 here for that. So, but as soon as you can see support, because this is where the resistance has got, well, there's resistance here and there's resistance in here as well. But as soon as you can see some sort of support on these levels, then you can add a gain at that point. Now, we know that the move to the upside can be corrective. And if this, let's just assume for a moment that that this is going to be bullish at this point, then what's going to happen here is we're going to see something like this. So it's going to drop back down, and then it's going to do the same thing again over here as well. So this is probably more likely the case here. So don't go chasing that, and wait for it to have an ABC pattern and then move up there again on that. So they're the two things that happen. We're quite close to the low. It just depends on how you want to count it. And then the other point here is that if we're going to go up, there's no real resistance in this sort of area here, so we may end up going quite high. So if we just assume for a moment this is the 61.8%, so we could get into this consolidation. So getting into the 185 would be a safe bet at that point in terms of the distance to the upside. So that's where we are. So just moving away from Apple now, we had those 5 waves down, and then we also had the banking sector with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So this is Amazon here. Now what we need to be mindful of here, we can see the stochastics has pulled right back, but it's running pretty quickly on 633. So, but it's capturing most of these, dips quite nicely. And so we could actually just push up from here, or we're going to have an ABC pattern for this as well. So it's a little bit tricky in this space here for this, but we're looking at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to the upside. So it just depends on how this plays out here. Will it have the same moves as Apple? That's the trick here with this. So yeah, so this whole move back down is corrective. And in this case here, I can see that, well, currently so far here, I suppose we could look at this as, well, this is, if I took it from this low here, this would be 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, there'd be the third, fourth, so it'd be the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave. So really any move above that, you should be good to go at that point. But otherwise, this will have another little 5 waves down to finish this off here before moving up at this point. And the question here is that, do we have some sort of ABC pattern here and then come down for wave 4 and then move up again? Because this, as I mentioned with Apple, this ABC pattern is the basic pattern that we need to sort of adhere to in the markets. And this B wave could be simple or it could be complex. So none of this is going to be easy at this point. The trick is not to lose any money while all this is going on. Now, Nvidia is a little bit different. So with Nvidia here, we counted 5 waves up here. So I've had it as this wave 4 and this wave 4. So I probably need to look at it at this wave 4. So that means that this blue wave 1 will become this orange wave 1. Not that it's a big deal. And we were looking and talking about going long in this market around these lows and doing a few little things. So we'll talk about that again here. So yeah, we're going to shift this over to this wave 2, and this wave 1 here will push this one out of the way. But the thing here is that we had a very clear 5 wave structure to the upside, so we're just waiting for the correction. We've got that, and now we can look at this as wave 1. If you're in this market already, that's fine. I can't remember exactly what I talked about getting into this market, but I know we discussed it in some way or another. So this is likely to be, this will be the third wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all of the third. That's 1 and 2, third. Not sure about that little guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anyway, so this is probably what's going to happen here is we'll look at this all as wave 1. So probably another little high here. But what we're looking for is this ABC pattern to pull back, and then you can go up at that point. So just this, the main point here is that you can see that this trend here hasn't been corrected. Yes, it's had its corrections along the way, but as a whole, it hasn't been. As a whole trend, it hasn't been corrected, and that's what you'd be looking for. And it's running into supply here, so this is, you know, it's the pullback that you want in the B wave here. So perhaps tomorrow will be in a space to look at this, but yeah, so all in all here, what we should see here is that, just generally speaking, is we should see 1 and 2 and 3 up here somewhere, and 4 and 5 up here. And then a bigger correction to come into play after that. So that's what we're looking for. This third wave normally hits the top here, so we'll just see how that plays out. So it's kind of worth getting in here. And this will be 5 waves in this particular structure here as well, but we'll use these 1s and 2s in here for that. Okay, so just wait for the pullback on that. So that's probably one of the strongest ones out there. I think Google's okay too, actually. Nvidia and Google would be the ones to go for. Radio Meta here, so it's the same thing here too. So is this the 19th of July? It's later, isn't it? That's the 19th there. I'm just thinking about Apple was around the 18th or 19th of July topping out here. So, but anyway, not far off. And yeah, so in one way or another, we need to look at this. You know, we were looking at this as an ABC coming down, but now we're going to have to look at it as an A and a B and a C, like most other markets at this point. So let's just drill in. We can count this move up here a bit differently as well. We can have this as a top in here, like Apple. So that's another point as well. So with these markets, we can look at a lot of these topping as wave 1, and you know, this, if we need to look at the S&P, you know, and the NASDAQ in the same light here, it's the same as the banking sector here with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. It's a little bit different with the S&P 500 and so on, but basically looking at this, because this has pulled back so far, it hasn't pulled back that far on the NASDAQ just yet here at the 38.2% retracement level. So it's not a lot of damage, but if it pulls back and we get a bigger correction here, in one way or another, we'll have to look at these as wave 1s up here, but we don't need to go there just yet on this. But it is something that's showing up in the market. So it doesn't really matter, but the main point here is that we're working with a correction, and based on Apple, it appears that we're going to be looking at some sort of ABC pattern here for these. Okay, so once again here, I think there's one more move down here, you know, but we'll talk about this a bit more detail, but yeah, then some sort of ABC pattern here, and then this move down here that could be wave 4 or also wave 2 at this point as well. Now, if you're going to go long here, you can see the stochastics has moved up. It's also running pretty quickly as well. But you know, if you want to go long here, then you need the you know, the high there exposed. Let's just go to the 100 ticks. Slightly different count, but yeah, so we don't have 5 waves up here just yet. I mean, we could look at that as 5 waves. Let me just have a closer look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I mean, at the moment it counts quite nicely as an ABC pattern. So that's also 5 waves. Where would that leave us? I mean, if this was going to end up being impulsive, it would be, we can still have this here and one more move up here. We can have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and still have this is here. So it would still, to get 5 waves, we'd still need a pullback here, and then we'll need this up here, and then we would get this here. So I don't think that we should go long on this one. You know, go up. So we'll either go down from this point. So I don't think we can go long here just yet in this. We need more of an impulse. So we'll pick it up in the next session. Let's just see what it looks like. It's not it could be corrective or it could be impulsive. So it's not there just yet, you know. And a lot of this will just be short covering anyway from that move down. And Netflix, so we've always had this as a wave 3, an A and a B and a C wave down here. It's coming along quite nicely. I'm not that happy with the way I've got it counted here, because I've got this really sort of extension here, where really this should be down here for this wave 3 here. So we may end up coming down even further on this one. I might need to look at this as, I mean, we certainly don't have a buying opportunity here yet. So this may end up being 1 and 2 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 just for the third wave here. So I think there's more to be had here. Obviously, we're going to be bouncing around here a little bit. So, and it looks like it wants to push up a little bit, but let me just get that here if that's going to be the case. That can push up to here and then drop to here and then here and then here. It's going to be probably more like this. I don't have a long trade set up anyway, whichever way you want to look at it at this stage. Just want to bring it down a bit further because of this here, you know. I'm just going to push this out the way. That makes a bit more sense, actually. Still, if the other markets are going to give us some sort of ABC pattern, then we'll probably get it from here, I guess, in this wave 4. This wave 4 here probably get quite complicated, actually, while the other markets are moving up, you know. But wave 2 was quite complicated, so wave 4 should be simple. Still, I think we'll end up, I think it will be complicated if, especially, you know, with other markets, when they do this B wave back up here, I've got to tie that into this market, you know, that's the thing. So this might get, yeah, it might be a bit more complicated at this point. So anyway, there's a series of 4s and 5s here for this, so that might be enough, really. All these 4s to keep it in that space while the others are doing their B wave, and then this one coming down to finish off gain here somewhere. It's not, we don't have a buy signal. That's the main point here. And then if you're going to short it, well, it's going to get pretty bouncy and messy around here, I reckon. So nothing to be had here for that. And Alphabet here. So yeah, so we were looking for a move down, and we've got this here as 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got one more little move down. So this will create a little buying opportunity for some folks. So if this is your stock, and then we can look for 5 waves to the upside to make a new high here. So while the other markets are doing their B wave to the upside, then this one here can finish off moving up here higher. I mean, Google always had a pretty good bearish pattern as well, actually. Let's just go and have a look at the bigger picture here for a moment. Yeah, so at the moment we're just looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, and then a correction, and then another move to the upside, and then this. So it's got that. Just have a look at the other bullish count. This is making it a bit tighter in here with 1 and 2 and all the way up for 3, 4 and 5 here for this. A little bit different. We'll see how it ties in anyway. Maybe I've got to tie it in a bit closer to Apple. But the bearish pattern here, I always kind of liked. Yeah, because at the moment with this, we've got this as an A and a B and a C for the A wave here, the B wave here, and coming down here, which is kind of stock standard within the markets. But what have I got on the 50K, isn't it? Bearish moves. So yeah, so from the top here, counting this as 1 and ABC for 2, and then 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It counts quite nicely as 5 waves down. So it was one of them that sort of had that nice bearish pattern, and then the ABC for the A wave, the B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll see how it comes down from the top here for this anyway. But that does present a nice bearish case, I have to say. I mean, the other bearish markets would be, at this stage, the Russell. Anyway, just looking at both sides, no biggie. And Microsoft's here. So we were looking at this being an ABC to the downside, but yeah, I think that we need to tie it in with Apple as well. So we're looking for a low, the low probably in, or there's one more little spike down, no big deal, and then the B wave and the C wave here. So we need to keep an eye on this, and that would put us over here for that. What have I got on the 20K here for this? Okay, yeah, so much the same. So we're looking for a B wave in 3 waves, and then a C wave here for this. I mean, the other point is like with Apple and that, and the other banks, do we put wave 1 over here? That's something else that we need to consider a bit later, but we'll just keep working this. And into 100 ticks, we've been counting this down. I've probably readjusted this, but let's just go and have a look. So I'm trying to look at it as 5 waves down as 1 and 2, and then 1, 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, 4th, 5th for the third, the 4th blue 4th in here, and then down for the 5th. So I can count it being completed here, but it is a little bit messy in some places, and I'm not that happy with this particular count here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third. I mean, it looks all part of this one here, so yeah, it hasn't got the right look and feel about it, putting this low in here. I mean, it's nice to see this moving up, and it has moved up quite a way. So I would say here that, yes, we could have a low in, otherwise we'll end up back over here, but we can use this number here. So if the market does push up here, then we want to be looking for a classic trading levels pattern sitting on the 320, and that would be the long trade at that point. Okay, so we don't have that yet, and yes, we could count that impulsively, and we could count it as a corrective wave. I mean, it has moved up a long way. So, but then again, I've got to kind of figure out if I've got any of this wrong in here. So anyway, we don't have a long trade set up at the moment. I mean, it's always the same case, isn't it? There's nothing really to trade, and then there's everything to trade. But the ones that I see that would pop to the upside that I've got a little bit of confidence in would be Nvidia and Google. The others like this could certainly just push up as well, but they need that setup to go long, okay? So they just need another layer of security in them. So this is Tesla on the weekly chart, and we can see that, you know, because we had one count that we're looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then 3 up here, but it was okay. But now we've got, like the banking sector, it's got that overlapping wave structure in there, do you know? So not so much this one, but the regional banks here. So we've got this situation, this 1 and 2 here. So it's got that overlap happening in there. So this is this is, I mean, it's a different picture and it started long before that, but it's the same sort of pattern. Now the thing here is you could say to yourself, well, Pete, that could be an A wave and a B wave and a C wave up here, and we come down much further than all of that, you know, as a larger A, B and C wave here. So that's quite possible as well, but I don't have a bigger bearish picture in here for the markets in general just yet. You know, if after we're looking at markets with an A wave and a B wave and a C wave down here, so on the NASDAQ and the S&P we get that, anything below those 5 waves coming down here, well then we would have to go to the bearish side over here. You know, you've got stocks like Apple that we're pretty much calling this for wave 1 up here, but you know, that's pretty hard to sort of justify that. You could jam it in here or something, but it's just hasn't got the right look and feel. The other reason I'm showing this weekly chart for is because this move down through here, it's well, this whole leg here, it's difficult to see this as an impulse wave. It just plays out much better as a corrective wave. Okay, so there's different ways to count it, so I won't go into them, but we're not seeing a nice clean 5 waves coming down through here, nor here as well. I mean, sure, there's 5 waves coming into this space, but this here is sort of displaying that it's corrective. So yeah, I think the worst case scenario would be this as some sort of A wave here, and ABC for the B wave, and then down again. But before we go there, we have to have a 5-3-5 structure for this. So we don't have that just yet. Yeah, so we just have to wait on that. So going from the weekly chart to the daily chart. So there's 2 ways to look at this. We can look at it as we've always had the A wave, the B wave and the C wave there. And now we're reduced to wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. And I think that this will do much the same as Apple. We could look at this here. This is like also the banks have got this pattern where it comes down sharp here and then consolidates here and moves down. It's just something that was on these banks. So this type of little pattern here and this one here. So it is possible for it to push up at this point. Well, expect it to push up, to come down and sort of sit a bit closer to the support's going to come in. Well, the support is the 200, but the support will come in before that. And yeah, so we're looking down at the 210 for that before. And yeah, so we're nearly there. But I think we need to treat this the same as Apple. So any move to the upside here, we would need to treat it as just coming back up to supply levels at the in the 250 area, and we'll probably struggle to do that, but we'll see how it finishes off first. I'm just going to go to 100 ticks because I'm burning up a bit of time here, and 5k, maybe more. So from the top here, I'm going to look at it as 5 waves, as wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. I mean, I'd like to count this as 5 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we've got that overlap there, so it doesn't really make it a good count. But I've got, yeah, so 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here for the third wave here. It's a bit tight, and then the fourth wave, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and down here for 5. So I think we've got one more little push up and then down here, because that looks impulsive at this little stage here. Cover that gap, I guess, in here, and then come down a bit further. And then the climb to the upside here, we'll need to look at that, see how it goes. I mean, the B wave can pull back up 40%. It could pull back up, 99%, or, it could be an expanded flat as well. So it can pretty much do anything. But the normal thing is that I feel like it's going to struggle to get back up here, actually. But, we'll see. But something like this here, so we'll see. I don't see good trading through here, but we'll have a look at the setups and see if we can see some nice impulse waves here and setups on these levels when we could do something at that point. But yeah, that's that. Alrighty, that's the stocks. So thanks for tuning in. Cheers.